Alright, so don't lie. When you pick up a brand new camera, the first thing you're going to be looking at is different lenses or rigging accessories. And there is one thing that often gets forgotten and overlooked, and that's going to be memory solutions. SD cards aren't the sexiest things in the world, but if you want to unlock all the shooting modes on your brand new Sony camera, you might have to look for something called a CFExpress Type A card. However, there's going to be two problems. One, they don't have the biggest capacity in the world, and two, they're gonna add up because they are pretty expensive per card. But all of that changes today because Angelbird just dropped the 1TB CFExpress Type A card, which not only is gonna have more than enough capacity for you to store all your footage, but it's at a price that's so good that it actually might be the best memory card that you can get for your Sony camera. Now, two things. One, Angelbird did give me this card to try out on my Sony FX6 and my other cameras. And two is I might have exchanged it for my voice because, as you can hear, I might have left it in Las Vegas. Now, if you're somebody that owns a Sony A1, a Sony A7S III, a Sony A7 IV, or the FX3, the FX30, or the Sony FX6, at some point or another, you probably consider getting a CFExpress Type A card. Now, the common option is to use V90 cards, which I actually have by Angelbird as well. However, if you want to shoot in different shooting modes, especially at high frame rates at all intra, you might need to get a CFExpress Type A card, especially if you're using something like the Sony FX3 or the Sony A7 IV, and you want to get 4K 60 or 4K 120 frames a second. Now, when I picked up my Sony FX3, I did pick up one of the Sony Tough cards in 160 gigabytes in the CFExpress Type A format. This is because I wanted to use 4K 120 frames a second, and you can't unlock every single shooting mode without it. Now, if we are going to compare the shooting capacity on either one of these cards, on the Sony FX6, I get 83 to 84 minutes using 160 gigabyte CFExpress Type A card. However, when I use my 1TB Angelbird card, I'm looking at about 530 minutes in one shot on this card, which means I'm going to spend a lot less time dumping off footage, which is great in terms of client projects because time is money and I don't often have about 20 to 30 minutes to drop off everything on my card on a shoot day, and I'd rather just do it at the end of the day. The CFExpress A cards are also built a little bit different and in my opinion with better quality than something like a standard SD card. The only one time that I've had one fail on me was because it was a little bit flimsy, it's easy to crack. I put it in my camera, recorded a bunch of footage, and then it kind of fell apart and my whole shoot was lost. So CFExpress Type A cards aren't only going to be high capacity and higher price tag, but it's also going to be great and built to last, which actually also means that you're going to need a different SD card reader in order for you to get footage from this thing. Now, when Angelbird dropped their 1TB card, it actually dunks all over the Sony Tough cards in a couple of different ways. Number one is the Angelbird cards are actually a little bit faster. Now, CFExpress Type A cards are meant to accommodate for higher file sizes and different codecs. And the Angelbird card is a little bit faster than the Sony Tough card comparison at about 20 or 30 megabytes per second. Now, those are going to be the top line speeds out of this card, but you are going to get a decent sustained 650 megabytes out of the Angelbird variant. The second thing is going to be the obvious. 1TB is going to be a lot bigger than 160 gigabytes when we're comparing these two cards. In fact, 1TB is about 8 times bigger than the 160 CFExpress Type A card that a lot of you guys have, including myself. And number three, and this is the biggest one, and it's going to be the price. Now, if you want to pick up a 168 gigabyte version of the CFExpress Type A card from Sony, you're looking at about $399 US, which in Canada is enough of a down payment on a house. Angelbird has their 1TB card for $500. Now, it's not the most affordable thing in the world, but cheap and good are often never in the same sentence, but you are going to get a lot of value because at only $100 more, you're getting 8 times the capacity. Let me put this even more in perspective. If we're going to go dollars per gigabyte, if you're looking at the Sony card, you're about $2.50 per gigabyte. Where if you go over the Angelbird card, you're looking at about 50 cents.
Go shorty, it's your birthday.
That means at the time of this video, the Angelbird 1TB card is not only disrupting the market, but it also has the best value in terms of the memory option that it actually has for your brand new Sony camera to unlock all of your shooting modes. This card has the power to do a bunch of different things. One, I could shoot in any frame rate and any codec on any of my Sony cameras without worrying too much about whether or not I have the right memory card. And for me personally, if I'm gonna buy a high quality camera, I wanna use all the footage that I can without any sort of limitations. And number two is that 1TB at capacity, you're going to be able to be a lot more future proof than using some of the smaller cards. As cameras get bigger, as cameras get better, the file sizes are going to get bigger, there's going to be new codecs, there might be a 12-bit camera somewhere down the line, and you might need to get even more memory in order for you to accommodate for those file sizes. Now, I don't know any of the Sony cameras that could bleed through a 1TB card fairly easily, so having something like this 1TB CFExpress Type A card is going to last me through the different camera upgrades that might be available at later days. Angelbird also made this really cool CFExpress Type A card case. Now, it is made out of metal, has great build quality, and you could fill 3 of these cards up before you buy one of the 640 gigabyte cards by Sony. I'm just adding more salt to the wound here, but this is actually really cool and it does come in handy. Now, I'm not somebody that gets too hyped on different memory solutions because they're not the sexiest things in the world. However, I do think in terms of value to the price, the CFExpress Type A card, the 1TB by Angelbird is actually a big win, and I think a lot of people should consider it when you're looking at the long term in terms of your memory card solutions. That being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, or at the very least you learned something, and if you want to know the secrets to low light filmmaking, you might want to check out this video over here. All right, see you in the next one. Peace.